gacchantu devata saddhammang munirajasa sunantu sagga mokkhaḍaṃ dhamma savana kālo ayaṃ bhadantā dhamma savana kālo ayaṃ bhadantā dhamma savana kālo ayaṃ bhadantā. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Yatha namang ca rupang ca asesaṃ uparujjhati taṃ te dhammang idhaṃ ñāya acchidum bhava bandhanaṃ ti gambhiraṃ bhāsasi vācaṃ dubbijānaṃ sudubbuddhaṃ kasatvaṃ dhamma maññāya vācaṃ bhāsasi iti saṅti. My utmost respect to the perfectly enlightened Samma Sambuddha, the noble doctrine of the Buddha, and the noble Mahasangha, the disciples of the Buddha. Hello everyone. Good evening to all of you, those who are joining us today from this part of the world, and also to the other people, good morning. And today at the Empty Cloud Monastery, I'm going to continue my series of Dhamma talk. We started with the Dānakathaṃ, Sīlakathaṃ, and today is the Saggakathaṃ. I know somebody is very happy today. That should be Bhante Bhante Sudaso. He should be very happy because last time he said he is very happy to think of the Devas. And today I also started the Dhamma talk with inviting the Devas. That's actually a traditional way that we do before starting the Dhamma talks. We also invite the Devas. Samanta cakkavalesu atra gacchantu devata. All the Devas are invited here to listen to the Dhamma talk. And I also want to let you know that I will ask some questions, so be careful. You have to answer, okay? All right. So I also mentioned in my last few Dhamma talks that the number of times that we learned about the Dāna and the Sīla. Today I also want to say how many times the word Sagga or the Deva is mentioned. Deva is mentioned in the Tipitaka 7,811 times, and the Devata, which is also both male and female according to the Atthakathas, this has been used 3,106 times, and Devaloka 1,339 times, and Brahma is 1,553 times, and the Brahmaloka 920 times. Just to give you a feeling of how important these terms are also. I think it can be very useful. Now, when we talk about the devas, or the celestial beings, deities, gods, so we all have different perspectives. And I think this temple, empty cloud, also belong to the devas. Cloud is is in the sky, so maybe some devas should be there. One time the Buddha was passing by city of Visala, what we call Vaishali, and then the Buddha had a smile. He doesn't normally smile that much. When he smiled, there should be something very special. Venerable Ananda, the personal attendant of the Buddha, asked the Buddha, the Blessed One, you normally don't smile like that today. What was the reason that you smiled? Then the Buddha said, Ananda, I can see this beautiful city, new city coming up, and all the buildings are new. And as much as these people are settling in, there is another group of sentient beings. Those are the earthbound devas also landing on those houses. So it looks very fascinating. Only those Buddhas and other powerful monks could see that. The other people don't see that. So devas are also landing, descending on these places. I think this place is occupied by Christian devas and the Mahayana devas and also Theravada devas, because I see the beautiful Kuan Yin statue and also the cross and Theravada monks and all. This is so wonderful. So unity in diversity kind of situation here. I like that too here. And so we do have, I think in Christianity, you have something called capital G God, right? That's a creator God. But in Buddhism, we call like simple G God. So they are like karmic gods. They are not necessarily creator gods. But they are, yes, they are also powerful, but they are karmic. They're not permanent, and they can also be born as devas just due to some very simple reasons, not necessarily, due to very powerful karma, but yes, the power of the karma is such that they have been privileged with so many wonderful facilities. I will talk about them a little later. Before that, I would also like to talk about there are 6 kind of Deva worlds, and then also there are so many Brahma worlds. And I'd like to mention you that the lifespan of those Deva worlds. Maybe just to give you a rough idea, how long do you think they can survive? They live according to human standards. In the closest Deva world is called, the realm is called Chatu Maharajika Deva world. And Chatu Maharajika Deva world, one day there is 50 human years. So we literally live less than 2 celestial days. Right? So we do all this drama and during these 2 celestial days. So we have to be really careful that we think, oh, we have a long life and all that. It is nothing compared to those Deva worlds. And also Chatu Maharajika Deva world, they are the guardian angels, what we call, and they have the age limit up to 500 celestial years. So one celestial day, and then 30 celestial days is a celestial month. So we can imagine the the number of human years, and then 12 by 30, so that is the celestial year. Then also 500 celestial years, that is the age limit according to. So according to human years, it is how much? 90 million? 90 million. human years. Okay. And the next Deva world, there are other Deva worlds like Tavatinsa, for example, the realm of 33 gods. Their lifespan is 4 times more than that. And if we go to furthermore, delightful Devas, 4 times more than Tavatinsa world. And then again, the gods who delight in their creations, what we call Nimmana Rati Devas, 4 times more. And those who lord over the creation of others, Paranimita Vasavati Devas, 4 times more. So, if we take the last Deva world here, Paranimita Vasavati, 920,060,000 human years. Just amazingly unthinkable kind of situation, but it can very well be the reason. Just like we compare to the ants or the mosquitoes or other insects, our lifespan is so long, when we compare to these things. And then also we compare to some of the animals in the maybe sea, they also live maybe 300 years, or crocodiles can also live longer than us, so there can be situations like that. If you go to the other Rupavachara plane, that is the form realm, so a material, what do you call? So Brahma's retinue, 1/3 of the eon, okay, that is called kappa. That's another very long time. According to this Buddhist cosmology, they talk about that. And then Brahma's ministers, what we call Brahma Parisajya, they are half a eon. And then Mahabrahma is the world where we have 1 eon, 1 kappa as their lifespan. And then the minor luster, 2 eons, and then the infinite luster, 3 eons. Radiant gods, these are Brahma worlds, 8 eons. Minor aura, 16 eons. Infinite aura, 32 eons. Steady aura, 64 eons. Great reward and mindless beings, 500 eons. And durable gods, 1,000 eons. Serene gods, 2,000 eons. And beautiful gods, 4,000 years. Celestial, clear sightful gods, they are also Brahma, 8,000. And the highest gods, 16,000. These are all Rupavachara Brahma realm. And when it comes to the Arupavachara Brahma realm, it's even more. Realm of infinity space, 20,000 eons. And then realm of consciousness, these are like Akasaṇaṃ-Chayatana, Viññānaṃ-Chayatana, Akiñcaññāyatana, and Neva-Saññāyatana. So 20,000, 40,000, 60,000, and the last one, Akanita Brahma realm, has 84,000 eons. So it will be all maybe mind-blowing. Just wanted to share how little that we live here, and how much ego that we have built up as been thinking that we live long and all that stuff. So we actually live maybe less than 2 celestial years in the 2 celestial days. So maybe the first celestial day we are stronger and a little bit more better looking and good health. And then when it comes to the second day, like in my age, I'm in the second day. So it's like, declining time. Right. So in this context, I would like to start with the talk of Sagga, or the Saggakathaṃ. So Buddha started the Dhamma talks to the lay people with Dānakathaṃ, Sīlakathaṃ, Saggakathaṃ, Kāmānaṃ, ādīnavaṃ, etc., etc. Like last time we discussed about that. So Saggakathaṃ is also a very fascinating story. Like when we talk about the celestial beings, heavenly beings, it's really amazing. And their stories are really, really very, very beautiful. I was going through the book called Vimanavattu. Vimanavattu is a text full of stories of those devas and devatas. So how those wonderful devatas and devas, and those when they were human beings, they did some good karma, and they were born in the deva realm, mostly in the so the stories are there in the Tavatins world at the beginning. So some of those women who were doing very wonderful good karma and born in the Deva realm. And then there are so many stories like that. I would like to share some of these stories. And then Samyutta Nikaya has a very, very beautiful section called Devata Samyutta. And Devata Samyutta has also beautiful collection of those stories of devas who have come to meet the Buddha. So I was also thinking, how did they did their conversations with the Buddha? It should be very interesting, right? Have you heard the suttas like Evang me sutang ekang samayam bhagava savatyang vihirati jetavane anatha pindikassa arame? Right, then a devata is coming, abhikkantaya ratya abhikkantavanna kevala kappan jetavanam obhasitva. The entire deva the Jetavana monastery was so beautifully shining when they were coming, radiating that beautiful glorious shine of those devas. And when the devas come, according to the Atthakathas, actually, it is said that they don't normally come with their own original forms. They can also change their forms into maybe better, more human kind of form. And then they also actually can have different forms. And by the way, devas also can reflect on their past births. They can think what good karma they have done before to be born as devas. And as I mentioned, Venerable Moggallana, last time I mentioned how Venerable Moggallana was going from one deva realm to another, interweaving so many wonderful devas. And their stories are also recorded in Devata Samyutta and Vimanavattu. And so it's really interesting. And then so these devas have come to the Buddha most of the time abhikkantaya ratya, night time. Night time they have come, and so looks like they did not talk maybe in human language. Maybe I just feel maybe Bhante Sudaso and Bhante the other wonderful Sangha members, I would like to give you a comment on that. How did they actually converse with each other? The dialogue, what language, what way of communication? Hopefully, they also must have done some communication. Maybe no emails, no Facebook Messenger, no WhatsApp, and then how did they come? But they had one of the most powerful mode of communication, what we call telepathy. They had clairvoyance, and they had Dibba Chakku, the Buddha had. So when they know, or no deva is going today, so I should go take a look and pay respect to the Buddha, and that's how they came. And then Buddha also knew exactly who they are coming, where they are coming. All these things Buddha knew too, and their stories are really wonderful. And also that connection without Wi-Fi was very, very powerful too. just wanted to say how important the communication, the mode of communication. Sometimes, one of the devas who came to the Buddha was very, very radiant, and some of the monks were very impressed. And when they left, they asked, Venerable Ananda was also asking, who was that? The Deva who came with so much glorious, shining light with him. That was Anathapindika. So those Devas used to come to the Buddha from time to time. And in the sutta also it is said that Anathapindika normally, when he was a human being, he did not talk too much. He did not ask questions from the Buddha, it is said. He was very pious, very pious. And he would rather listen to the Dhamma talk, but he was a Sotapanna Deva person. But when he visited the Buddha, he gave a good Dhamma talk. It's interesting. And also he appreciated Venerable Sariputta so much, how important it was to listen to the Venerable Sariputta, and that sutta gives so much about that. Most of them, I was having that Dhamma Sukha. Again, I borrowed the word from Ayasoma. I had so much of Dhamma Sukha when I was reading Ghatikara Sutta. Ghatikara Sutta was such a beautiful sutta, and when I read that, I felt like so happy. And then even when I was meditating, when I went to bed, I was also reflecting on that sutta and how those beautiful Buddhas and those powerful, amazing enlightened beings, their power, their humility, their amazing compassion, loving kindness, caring for others, all these things came to my mind when I was reading that sutta. That's why I think I also used one of those stanzas as the topic today. And here in this, I think I will start with that story. That will be useful. So Ghatikara, there are two suttas, one in Majjhima Nikaya, Uparipannasaka, 81st sutta, and also in Devata Sangyutta Nikaya, we have Ghatikara sutta. So according to this, one day the Devata Ghatikara, Devata is also called, actually here he was already a Brahma, and he said 7 bhikkhus reborn in Aviha Deva world, Aviha Brahma world, they have been fully liberated. Very interesting. When they were humans, they were like Anagami, non-returners, but the moment they were born in the Brahma realm, they became Arahant. That was the beauty of that too. So they were already Arahants. Remember, in the Deva world and the Brahma world, there are Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, Narahanta, Devas, and Brahma. So we have to be really respectful to them too as well. And so these have been fully liberated, with lust and hatred utterly destroyed. They have crossed over attachment to the world. And then the Blessed One asks Devata Ghatikara or Brahma Ghatikara, and who are those who crossed the swamp, the realm of death, so hard to cross, who, having left the human body, have overcome the celestial bond? Ghatikara says, Upaka and Palaganda with Pukkusati, these are 3. Then Bhadya and Bhaddadeva, and Bahudanti and Pingya. These, having left the human body, have overcome the celestial bond. I'll go to Pukkusati. If you know the story of Pukkusati, very interesting. Pukkusati came to the Buddha. He said he came from very, very far, and then he was wanting to meet the Buddha, and on the way, the Buddha's amazing exemplary leadership and also his amazing, immeasurable, infinite loving kindness towards his disciples also is reflected here. And in that particular morning, every morning Buddha used to meditate with Mahakaruna Samapatti, and he would look at the world. To whom should I help today? Whom should I rescue today? And whom should I help cross this samsara? And that particular morning, the Buddha saw Pukkusati, who was coming from so far away, and he would be on the way, but he wouldn't be able to make it to the temple if the Buddha would not go and meet him on the way. So Buddha left. He went to the disciple, and Pukkusati didn't know that it was the Buddha. And then they met on the way, and a roadside, what we call a resting place, and then they were chatting, and then the Buddha gave a Dhamma talk eventually, and he was so happy. And Pukkusati was, Buddha was asking, whom are you going to meet? I'm going to meet the Buddha. And do you know, have you seen the Buddha? No, I haven't. Do you recognize if you see him? No, I don't. He doesn't know anything about the Buddha, but he came to meet the Buddha. And then, so Buddha gave him the Dhamma talk. And he talked about this powerful Dhamma talk, and he was already just about to blossom. Just something very simple needed for him to push and opened up the doors, eyes for him, Dhamma Chakkung Udapadi, and that's it. And then he was so happy at the end of the Dhamma talk, and he said, I think after hearing the Dhamma talk, you are the one who is Buddha. He recognized by the power of the Dhamma talk, he recognized that this is the Buddha that I was looking for, and he paid respect to the Buddha, and he said, please, the Blessed One, ordain me and include me into the member of Sangha. And then the Buddha said, do you have robe? No, I don't. Then please go ahead and take a robe, find a robe, and I will ordain you. He went. On the way, he was knocked down by a cow. He died. That was the story. And Buddha knew all these things. And then the monks were like talking about that, oh, poor fellow, he died. He could not even become a monk. And then the Buddha said, bring his body and paid him respect and cremate his body just like you cremate an arahanta person. So he was already an anagami when he passed away, but he was reborn in the Brahma realm. Aviha Brahma realm, as Gatikara says here, he was arahanta there. He must be still there. Even today, just a few celestial days, right? So that's how he became part of the Buddha Dhamma. And so Gatikara is talking about that. And then Gatikara says, good is the word you speak of them, of those who have abandoned Mara snares, those whose Dhamma was it that they understood, whereby they cut through the bondage of existence. And Gatikara says, it was not apart from the Blessed One, it was not apart from your teaching. By having understood your Dhamma, they cut through the bondage of existence. That's the Blessed One, your own Dhamma that they followed. And all these Sangha members, they were able to attain Arahanthood there. Actually, those some of those the monks, it is said, they were also meditating on the mountains, and it is said they were already determining themselves not to go back, or no matter what, they would not communicate with anyone at the cost of their life. They would determine, we would try our best to become arahanta right here, right now. And they, it is said, some of them could become arahanta and the others could not, but they did not want to go down and take some food. Other monks would even offered, but they did not want to take it, and so they died there. And so they were born in the Aviha world. So this is how they became Arahanta there. And then I like the discussion here. The Buddha Ghatikara says, where name and form ceases, stops without remainder. By understanding that Dhamma here, they cut through the bondage of existence. And this is a very, very strong, very powerful Dhamma talk that he does. Actually, yatta namancha rupancha asesang uparujjati tangte dhammang idhanyaya achidung bhava bandhanam. So nama rupa, when somebody can cut off the bhava bandhana, the bondage of bhava, or the samsara, will be cut off too. The Buddha was very impressed with that. And the Buddha says, oh, very interesting. And deep is the speech by you utter, hard to understand, very hard to grasp. Having understood whose Dhamma do you utter such speech? Very, so the Buddha was saying, Gambhiram bhasasi vachang dubbichanang sudubbudang tassa kassa twang dhamma manyaya vachang bhasasi idisang. From whom did you learn this powerful, profound Dhamma speech? This is a very powerful teaching. And then he says, Kumbhakaro pureyasing vekalinge ghati karo mata pitti bharo asing kassa passa upasako. Who's Kassapa? Kassapa the Buddha, the previous Buddha. And he was Kassapa, the Blessed One, Kassapa's Upasaka, devotee, just like Anathapindika. He was just like Anathapindika. He was called Ghatikara. Ghata means pot. So Ghatikara is potter. His job is pot, making pots. And he was very simple man. Virato metuna dhamma brahmachari niramiso ahuate saga meyo ahuate pure sakha. I have left, I lived a life of celibacy, he says, even during that time. And then brahmachari niramiso. And I had lived a very simple life. So bhamete pajanami vimutte satta bhikkavo raga dosa parikkine tinne loke visattikanti. And he says, in the past I was the potter, Ghatikara in Linga. I supported my mother and father then. They were also blind. And as a follower of the Buddha Kassapa, I abstained from sexual intercourse. I was celibate, free from carnal ties. I was your fellow villager. I was your friend, he said. This is also very interesting. In the past, I was your friend, he said. So he reminds the Buddha, Ahuate sagameye ahuate pure sakha. I was your friend before, remember? And the Buddha said, yes, I remember. You were my friend. And that story also is very fascinating. So he says, I am the one who knows these 7 liberated bhikkhus. I also knew those 7 liberated bhikkhus. And then he says, just so it was at that time, as you say, of Bhagava, in the past you were the potter, Ghatikara in Vehalinga, you supported your mother and father then as a lay follower of the Buddha Kassapa. You abstained from sexual intercourse, you were celibate, free from carnal ties, you were my fellow villager in the past, you were my friend. And such was the meeting that took place between those 2 friends from the past, both now inwardly developed, bearers of their final bodies. Antima Dehadari, the 2 friends who were bearing the final bodies, met finally over there. And this story, I was very fascinated. Of course, I had so much Dhamma Sukha after reading this. So I wanted to learn more about. Then I went to Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta 81, and that sutta gives so much information about how they were together. And Ghatikara there, he was a potter and very pious devotee of the Buddha, and Bodhisattva was called Jyotipala, a young man, a good friend of him. And then Ghatikara said once, young man, my friend, let's go to the Buddha Kassapa. There is Buddha Kassapa. It is good to see the Buddhas. And very very funny the way he says, like, what is the use of going to the Buddha? Those samanas, namundakena samanena. He says, what is the use of those clean shaven samanas? Seeing them, what is the point? What is the use? And then he asked first time, second time, third time, he is not interested. And then Ghatikara changed the topic. Okay, let's forget about that. Let's go take a shower in the river. Okay, he's happy with that. And then they both go there. And then again, Ghatikara asked, let's go to the Buddha. Buddha Kassapa lives nearby. He's very good. It's so good to see the Buddhas. Oh, I'm not interested. What is the use? And he said, and then first time, second time, third time, when he said that, and he was also washing his head, and he was catching his hair. And young man, Jyotipala was a Brahmin caste, a higher caste. Ghatikara was a potter, and he is from a lower caste. And normally they don't touch the Brahmins just like that, especially with the hair. And when he hold the hair, and he was asking, do you want to go to the Buddha? There is the Buddha Kassapa, and it's very good to see the Buddha, and let's go. And he said, and then he was shocked. Oh, how wonderful, how marvelous this man, Ghatikara, my friend. He still wants to go to the Buddha, and he's even touching my hair. Normally the other people don't touch my hair. I should listen to him. And then he said, okay, release my hair. I will go with you. Let's go and meet the Buddha. And they meet the Buddha. And there, Ghatikara asked, Blessed One, Kassapa, this is my friend Jyotipala, and he is new, and please give some Dhamma talk to him. And then the Buddha gave a Dhamma talk to him, and then they were so happy, both of them, and they went back. And now it took U-turn for Jyotipala. Jyotipala was asking Ghatikara, Ghatikara, you are so much into Buddha, and why don't you become a monk? I want to become a monk, he said. You want to become a monk, but I am taking care of my old blind parents, so how can I do that? And then I want to become a monk. I would like to. And then he took Jyotipala to the Buddha, and he ordained, and he became a monk over there. And so that story goes on like that. And then the Ghatikara, he was so helpful in so many ways. And then one time there was the Buddha went to another place called Kasi, and there the Buddha was meeting a powerful king called Kiki. And then he said he was very happy to meet the Buddha, and he asked the Buddha to stay there in his kingdom, and he would take care of him during the rains retreat. And the Buddha said, I cannot accept your invitation. He asked for the second time too, and third time too he refused, because he has already accepted the invitation from a different person, the Buddha said. And the king, he was little upset. He was like asking the Buddha, who is that so powerful? Is he so powerful, more powerful than myself? And yes, the Buddha said, he was a potter, but he was so powerful because he was taking refuge in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. He was he was a very good upasaka. He had aveccha pasade buddhe dhamme sanghe, he said. He had unshaken confidence in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, and he was already an anagami non-returner. And he was also taking care of his blind parents. Like compared to you, he was way more superior in spiritual way. So, and then Kiki, the King Kiki, he was so impressed about him, and he sent so many things as gifts to this man. And he said, I am okay with this, whatever I have, please send them back to the king. He didn't even want to accept. Such a humble person was Gatikara. So this was the story of Gatikara and those two suttas. And I think I would like to mention how important are these suttas for us in our life. And these some of the suttas in the Devata Sangyutta also will be important if we have time enough. I think I took more time. Okay, so depending on our time, we will get back to the discussion.
We have plenty of time, Bhante.
Oh, okay, good. Do we have time?
Yeah,
oh,
please.
Good. Okay, so okay, now I think I would like to give the question. Okay. Okay, so the lifespan of Akanita Brahma realm. I would like to give this question to our online viewers. What is the lifespan of Akanita Brahma realm? And number 2, how many times the word Deva is mentioned in the Tipitaka? Let's see if you remember, okay? And so Ayasoma will help me if we get some answers. So 2 questions. 1, what is the lifespan of Akanita Brahma realm, the final Brahma world? And they also achieve Neva Sanyana Sanyayatana, or there can be Arahanta too. And the other one is how many times the word Deva is mentioned in the Tipitaka. Okay, just a hint, it's 7,000 plus. Okay, so I would like to go to some of the suttas in the Devata Sangyutta. In the Devata Sangyutta, first one is Oghatarana Sutta, crossing over the flood. So one time another blessed one, when the blessed one was living at Savatthi Jetavana monastery, and a Devata was coming with stunning beauty, illuminating the entire Jeta grove, approaching the blessed one. These are very small suttas, but one stanza was very important in all those suttas, very simple. By not halting, friend, and by not straining, I crossed the flood. Devata. So he is asking, how dear sir did you cross the flood? Oghatarana Sutta. Oga is flood. And then the Buddha says, by not halting, friend, and by not straining, I crossed the flood. What do you mean? Like, but by not halting and not straining. And Devata said, but how it is, dear sir, that by not halting and by not straining, you crossed the flood? When I came to a standstill, friend, then I sank. It's true, like if you swim, if you are in the water, if you stand still, you might drown yourself. But when I struggle, then I got swept away. It is in this way, friend, that by not halting and by not straining, I crossed the flood. So, and Devata said, it's actually a metaphor that he was using, the Buddha was using. And then he was paying respect to the Buddha, and he went back. And in the Nimoka Sutta, another Deva is coming. It's talking about the emancipation. Do you know, dear sir, emancipation, release, seclusion for beings? I know, friend, emancipation, release, seclusion for beings. And then the Buddha gives the answer to the Deva: by the utter destruction of delight in existence, by the extinction of perception and consciousness, by the cessation and appeasement of feelings, it is thus, friend, that I know for beings emancipation, release, and seclusion. These suttas are from Devata Sangyutta. I think I would like to go to uh, Vimana Vattu. I think that will be more fascinating. Let me see if I have some. Yeah, so okay. Okay, Vimana Vattu. In this, we have so many suttas, and how the Buddha is explaining, those devas are explaining their stories to the Buddha, to those monks, especially when Venerable Mahamoggallana, when he went to the Deva world, and he was actually collecting, meeting many Devas over there, and then he discussed these things. How did you become a Deva like that? And then they explain these things to the Devas. So in the Sangyutta Nikaya, why do I always go to Sangyutta Nikaya? I think I am more interested in that. It is the Khuddaka Nikaya that I want to go actually. Okay, over here. Yeah, heavenly mentions. So we have women's mentions, and the others are men's mentions. And so there are several suttas here. Throne mention, for example. One Devata, when Venerable Moggallana was asking, dear Devata, you are sitting on a golden throne. It flies wherever you want and as quickly as you want it to. You are beautifully dressed, wearing garlands of flowers, and you are radiant like lightning shining through the clouds. What kind of meritorious action did you do when you were in the human world to have gained this beauty that shines in all directions, and to have earned all these wonderful things? So as I mentioned, these devas, when they are born as devas, they can also reflect, they can remember their past karma. Even in the Petavatu, it is said when he was interviewing those hungry ghosts, they could also remember their past bad karma. And then the Devata says, Devata was very happy. And Bhante, when I was in the human world, a monk visited our house, and I prepared a chair for him to sit on. Raising my hands and putting my palms and finger together, I saluted That monk, respectfully, I also offered alms food to him. Because of these meritorious deeds, I have been born as a very beautiful devata and enjoy all the wonderful things that delight my heart. Great Bhante, these are the meritorious deeds I did to have such a beautiful body that shines in all directions. So, um, so those people who are really concerned about the physical beauty and practice dana, that will be a very good thing. Also practice sila. And it's not just for the 2 celestial days, but you can have it for so many celestial years in the Deva world if you think. And so sometimes maybe you will be so tired of being so long in your life, and you are not like dying, and you have like in the Akanita Brahma world 84,000 yons or something. So it's a long time, and the kind of shining and kind of privilege that they were having is truly amazing. And it is said in many cases these devas, they were also um, uh, working with different kinds of meritorious activities. And so in another sutta it is said that one of the deva, when she was devata, when she was interviewed, she said, I was a very loyal wife, and I was very patient, and I had been very good taking well care of my husband, and also I was very good, and I was doing so many good things, also paying respect to the Mahasangha, and doing so many charity activities and all. And therefore I have 1,000 nymphs all around, and wherever I go my body is shining so much, and it's like miles away people can see my glorious, so whatever my heart wishes, I can get that. They also have something called wish fulfilling trees. So like a kaparuka, so they have so many powerful things. And all these things are mentioned in the Vimanavatu, so many stories, and all these and in this particular sutta, that this lady also was Sakadagami. So even Sakadagami devas were there. I just checked that out in that sutta. It is said she was a Sakadagami person. And so the interesting part is that they when they were human beings, they were doing some simple things, and but they were also practicing as good people. And then you can also become a wonderful deva if you are born in the human deva realm. If you are born in the human realm, you are also getting so many. Just imagine like Queen Elizabeth. You know, is she's so amazing. She's like into 90s and still strong, and still very good. And I heard her story speech last year, I think, in the COVID, when she was addressing the nation. Her voice was flawless, and you don't see it like from a person who was in 90s. You know, they have done so much good karma in the past anyway. You know, so maybe there are very wonderful people also in our world, very happy, nice looking, good looking, very attractive, and very rich, very prosperous. They have all comfort, all power, because of their good karma in the past. And if they are born in the human realm, they will be getting so many things like that. And then if they are born in the heavenly realm, they will also get so many wonderful privileges like that. One time, when the Buddha was also meditating in the morning with Mahakaruna Samapatti, he saw one young man, and he was about to die. And then the Buddha went there, and this young man, he was sick, very sick. And that day, moments later, he would have died. And then Buddha saw him facing towards the wall, and he was kept outside the house. This is Mata Kundali story. And the Dhammapada's second stanza, the background story. And then the Buddha sent a light. Sometimes Buddha used his magical powers to help others. And that time the young man saw that beautiful light. He turned, he saw the Buddha. That's it. That was his last moment. He was so happy to see the Buddha. Died on the spot, and he was born in the Deva realm with that last Chuti-citta being so full of happiness, Dhamma Sukha. And then one time a frog, it is said, when the Buddha was teaching the Dhamma, and a frog was very curious. And then he was listening, and maybe he didn't understand anything, but even the jungle animal would be so happy to maybe even to listen to the Dhamma talks, maybe listen to chantings. I have personal experience with some animals too like that. So, and he was listening to the Dhamma talk, and one man, he was also listening to the Dhamma talk with a walking stick, and he was pressing the stick on the manduka, what we call frog, and he died there while listening. He was maybe with some positive energy was there. He was born as a Manduka Devaputta. I remember in our temple, when we were small monks in our temple, we had our Dokohamaduru, or the high priest, the abbot. He rings the bell in the night, evening time, for evening chanting. And the first respondents to go to the vihara, the dogs. we had a bunch of stray dogs. They were like homeless dogs, so we were taking care of them. And all those dogs, they used to go there. They go to the vihara, and they also do that circumambulating things like 3 times and then sleep. Until we finish chanting, they would be there. That's amazing. How they are so sensitive to the chanting. They like it. They like it, but they don't like the bell ringing. Like the big bell, when we ring, they don't like it. But they like that bell when the abbot rings the bell 3 times. They know exactly this is for chanting. And we also go to the Dana hall in the morning and in the lunchtime. He rings the bell, but the dogs do not respond to that. They respond that when it comes to the evening chanting. You never know, they definitely can be a part of that. So even the animals can do something like that. Okay, I think we will get to the discussion. If we have any, do we have any response?
Annamayaṃ Dhammakataya Saddukaraṃ Dadamase
Sadhu, 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 anumodami. Thank you so much, Bhante Sumitta, for sharing Dhamma. I'm very grateful. And well, we only have one answer to your questions, and this is from Gita. And Gita says, the Akinata realm is for non-returners, a special realm for Buddha Dhamma followers. This is their last birth, also known as the pure abodes. And the question number 2, no idea. Which is how many times the term deva is in the sutta.
Okay. So yes, so the age limit of the aviha akanita Brahma realm is 84,000 years. And the number of times that the word deva is mentioned, 7,811 times. So other words are also they are related. Okay. Any other questions?
Yes. So Kumo asks, Bhante, is it more advantageous to be born a human with good faculties to meditate, follow the Dhamma, and strive harder in terms of ending the cycle faster than living for eons or even millions of years?
Yes, to be born as a human being, I think, is one of the most privileged things that we can ever have. Remember, only a human being can become a Buddha. Not a Deva, not a Brahma. So in this human realm, we are so lucky. We are so privileged that we have the opportunity to become even the Buddha if we choose to. But as humans, we can select either go to heaven or hell. It depends on right, humans. And so although humans have the capacity to attain any of these states, they can achieve the enlightenment, they can go to the Deva world, or they can go to the hell realm according to their own karma. So people who are worrying about death, for example, when it comes to death, people are so sad, so sorry, and very anxious, and very upset about dying. For them, we can say, this is just 2 days here. Just 2 days, right? So not to worry, you will be born in, if you want to live longer, so many eons, so many millions of years you can live if you want to. And then you will also be tired of, living forever. Like, that is why some of those Brahmas, the Brahma realm, they see the Buddhas coming and going, the world systems appearing and disappearing, and they feel tired, seeing all of them. And they also think, kind of maybe building their own ego to think that way, that I am eternal, I am living forever, the others are all gone. So also maybe some of those devas can be just like that too, the Brahmas and all. So even the Brahma realm, Mahabrahma, so his Brahma realm is 1 year. That's still a long time. Yes, most important thing is actually to do good and to be good and take the maximum use of this human life and get rid of the samsaric suffering. Because once you come out, no matter what, if you are a non-returner, you will not come back. So, but even otherwise, if you are a Sakadagami, it is still okay. If you are Sotapanna, very good. You will not be born in the hell realm. Never again. You say they are Sattakatu Parama, only maximum 7 times they would be born, and after that they will be attaining their enlightenment. But even the Devas, even the Mahabrahmas, and other beings also can be born again in the human realm, maybe even in the hell realm. That can very well be the case. One time it is said the Buddha, a very interesting story, Venerable Ananda and the Buddha, they were walking and they saw a line of ants. Did I say the story before?
I don't think so.
So the Buddha saw this line of ants and he had a smile. When he has a smile, there is something special. And then Venerable Ananda looked at him and then he asked, the Blessed One, again, very special. Why did you look at those ants and you smile? And then the Buddha said, Ananda, these ants were before, all of them, every one of them were like Chakravarti Raja, universal monarchs. Now, just ants. Can you imagine the immeasurable samsara that we are all walking to? And it is also said one time when the Buddha was walking, a buffalo was looking at him. And the Buddha said, he was a Brahma before. He was a Brahma before. Amazing, right? So there is always a chance if we do not attain at least the Sotapanna. There is no guarantee. Remember, Devadatta also attained jhanas, and he declined from the jhana. He was born in the hell realm. He would be suffering immensely there in the absolute darkness. That will be miserable. And if we hear the stories of those petas, the hungry ghosts, and how they suffer in the hell realms, that would be really sad to see. And Buddhas, sometimes he would encourage people to do good things, like Dānakathaṃ, Sīlakathaṃ, Saggakathaṃ. For those average, normal, mundane human beings who are so busy with their household life, because at least they would be going to the Deva world, not to the hell realm. That would be so miserable if you go there, because in the Deva world you still have some of those good Kallacittaṃ friends. There will be still very, very wonderful friends over there. They can meet, they can even listen to the Dhamma. That can still be there. But if you are born in the hell realm, that will be very sad. Imagine you are an animal. You are a lion, let's say. How many times a lion would kill other animals? So it will be all doing bad karma too, right? So it's not easy to be to get rid of the animal realm. It is sometimes like 500 times you will be born in the same animal realm. That will be very unfortunate. So things like that can happen to many people.
Thank you, Bhante. And Original Mind has an interesting question that is, Bhante, what is to be said of astrotheology? The title Buddha is a reference to the planet Mercury, which rules over intellect. The Buddha's enlightenment was born of Venus. Not sure.
Went over my head. If he or she can maybe explain a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't think that we are very aware of what astrotheology is. This is the first time I see this word. So
I've heard of astrophysics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, and Denise says that sutra about crossing the flood by not striving and not staying in place always intrigues me, way above my head. Great, and Gita says, Bhante, is the Akinita realm made of 1 Aviha, 2 Atapa, 3 Sudasa, 4 Sudasi, 5 Akanita, 4 Anagami non-returner?
Yes. So there are like arupa realms, Brahma realms. There are some Brahma realms that are part of these arupa realms. And also I want to say, in the arupa realm, you don't have a body. So unfortunately, they cannot listen to the Dhamma too. Right? You don't have a body, you don't have ears. And also they cannot create the body like the other devas. They can actually recreate the forms of bodies, but they cannot. So that's why some of the Buddha's former teachers, they already had neva sanyana sanyayatana state. So they could not be helped by even the Buddha. So when you go to that extreme, like Atta Samapatti, there is a little bit of chance that you missed out even the Buddhas, some of the Buddhas.
Thank you, Bhante. And that was the last question online, but there might be some questions from the audience, perhaps live audience.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, I mean, I would imagine just like personally for yourself, I mean, the top choice of goal in this life, arhat. Second choice, anagami, sakadagami, sotapanna. But your fifth choice in this life, say next life, would you really want to be reborn as a human? I mean, it seems like the human world, this earth, is just going in a really negative direction. Like, would you not want to reborn in, say, Tavatimsa, where you could have, Dhamma friends who are already sotapanna or whatever? Do you think about this, or do you...
I think from time to time it is said the devas also descend here, no matter what. It is said, for example, the Mahamaya Devi is there in the Tavatimsa realm, and then also the Anathapindika and all those powerful devas. Sometimes it is said some of those devas come here maybe just for a few minutes, few hours to help the humans. And also when the Buddha Dhamma is not there, the Pacceka Buddhas would still be there. Pacceka Buddha would still try. And yes, as sometimes it's okay to be born in the Deva realm. Sometimes it is okay to be born here, and especially when the Dhamma is around. And sometimes, let's say, like we all go to the Deva realm, and nobody is there to help rescue the other sentient beings, right? So maybe we are we becoming a little more selfish in that way? Sometimes we also have to help. Maybe when we are in the middle of those innocent people, maybe like we can also show some path. That's why the Buddha was also born as among the monkeys, among the lions, among the other animals, among different kinds of professions. He wanted to actually help rescue them in different ways. So I would say better to be a human for sure, but sometimes like not necessarily the Brahma realm, I think. Unless you are an anagami or something, I think not so long to be born, and you can do so much about that. But I think in the Deva realm, if you can still, like the king of Devas, it is said Sakka, and he would every morning, it is said, like his seat would become little warmer sometimes if he wants to help someone, it is said. And then also it is said every day he would turn towards the earth and he would bow to the human realm to pay respect to those people who observe the 5 precepts. And sometimes the devas, it is also said they also come here in disguise as beggars, as homeless people, as some others, testify ourselves, our generosity, our goodwill, our good wishes, well-being, and how do we become kind to other people. Sometimes when you see a homeless person, maybe they were in disguise, you never know. And even like Ghatikara was such a powerful person, but he was just a potter. It's very simple potter. And his lifestyle was very simple. But imagine, he was an anagami person. So there still can be very much scope for those wonderful people to be respected. So they deserve respect. That way, I think, is a very good way to think of them and pay respect to them. Be respectful to all the living beings.
And yeah, Andy.
Bhante, I have a question. So, admittedly, the weak, and it's really ridiculous at this point, but the weakest part of my practice is sutta study, which I'm going to start doing something about tomorrow. So I've read a handful, not a lot, but a handful. A lot of other people's opinions. But my point is, so many Buddha rupas, the Buddha is smiling in the Buddha rupas. So was he not smiling a lot in the suttas? Is this because he was practicing sense restraint, or because I see so many Buddha rupas smiling all the time?
See, the Buddha smiling in the sense like when he smiles, he would smile on a very unique way, and that way Venerable Ananda gets some sign, or this is due to some very special reason. And I think the Buddha statues always give us some good energy, positive energy. To look at the Buddha statue, we feel so good. And also different cultures, you see this Sri Lankan Buddha statue. Sri Lankan people would be very happy to see white Buddha statues. And then you see the Buddha statue behind me, and other Mahayana or Vajrayana, or like Kamakura, like in Japan, you have Thai Buddha statues. They feel like more connected to them. And I'm pretty sure when Buddhism in Africa flourishes, the Buddha would be a black person, and somewhere somehow here, maybe in the West, Buddha would be a white person. That way you feel more connected to that. So I think although without even without smiling, Buddha's amazing capacity to radiate the loving kindness can be felt by everyone. So when he smiles, but definitely not like laughing. But when he smiles, it's a sign for others to see, because he sees so many things, like beyond our vision. He can see so many things. Like when he looks at you, he will see like thousands of births ago, who were you, like what were you doing, and how you did so many good and bad karma. He would know exactly, just like a press of a button in the computer. Even more much more powerful than that. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Thank you, Bhante.
We have another question from online, Bhante, from Aaron, who asks, Bhante, does the Dhamma describe whether it's possible to be reborn as more than one being simultaneously? Or is rebirth singular? Or is this identity ultimately delusion anyways?
To be born, I mean, in two different terms.
I think...
To have one person be reborn as two different people.
Or there's like a swarm of bees, or like a swarm of flies. I think people say the Dalai Lama once said that. Be reborn as a swarm of flies.
Like reincarnation.
Yeah, no? I think rather than one bee, to be reborn as
many bees
that travel together, perhaps. Apparently the Dalai Lama said something like that.
I don't think in the Theravada viewpoint we have something like that, but I will have to look into that, because everyone, like the ants, everyone is one individual traveling alone. In my understanding, maybe I might be wrong, but it is one person, and the others are also separate individuals, like we all are. We can work together, we can flock together, maybe thousands of ants or whatever, maybe work together. But in my understanding, they are all separate individuals.
Yeah, Aaron is following up saying, could my consciousness be 10 butterflies at once?
10 butterflies at once. You can be a caterpillar and then you can be a butterfly.
That does make me think of the psychic power, having been one is many.
Yeah, that's actually,
one.
yeah, that actually can be, yes, like in Chullapantaka's case, you know, but they are not real. Yeah, they are not real. Only one person was there in reality. Like the story of Chullapantaka, do you know that? So it is said Mahapantaka and Chullapantaka were two brothers, and they Mahapantaka was already an arahant, and then he also wanted his younger brother, to become a monk, and this monk was very lower in capacity to learn things by heart, and then he asked the young monk to study, and then even 4 months he could not study even one stanza. Oh, you're not worthy of being a monk, you better go home, he said. And then he was very sad, and then the Buddha saw him, and he was asking why, what happened. Then he talked about the story that he had to go home and I can't become a monk anymore. And then the Buddha gave him a beautiful skill. I mean, he taught him a skill. Okay, do this thing and you don't have to do so many things. He was given a handkerchief, and then he was wiping it and all the time and in the sun, and then he was looking at it, and that became a meditation for him. And that white color handkerchief became all dark later on. So thinking of that, meditating on that, he became an arahant, a powerful arahant in fact. So the monks went for a dana, and then Buddha already knew the story. And the Mahapantaka and all went to the dana with the Buddha, and then the Buddha asked, did everyone come, all the monks? Yes. So Mahapantaka said, all monks are here. Are you sure? Maybe you better go back and see if there is someone else in the in the temple. So a devotee was sent back to the temple, and he came running. There are so many monks in the temple. He said, what? It's impossible. No, there are so many monks. And then the Buddha said, okay, go ask the name. So they said, I'm Chullapantaka, I'm Chullapantaka, I'm Chullapantaka. Everyone knows Chullapantaka. And then what to do? Like, okay, then the Buddha said, so when somebody said Chullapantaka, you catch his robe, and the others will disappear. So that way, the Chullapantaka story, he was again invited to the dana. Yes, you can create and recreate different forms. That is, if that is the case, like, but they are not really sentient beings, they are just created. Maybe like bees or something, if you want to be like that, maybe. Depending on your spiritual power, maybe. But they are not sentient beings that we can call. Like they're not born and reborn like the others in the samsara. Yes.
So, nowadays there are many people who are trained in the sciences, and don't believe in these sorts of things like devas and so on. But I wonder if you think there is a role for these stories about the devas, even for someone who comes to the Dhamma with that mindset.
I like that movie Avatar. When I watched that movie, I was so happy. Some part of that movie reminded me of the Deva world. They are so beautiful, so nice people, very happy, very kind. And you know that those trees and the way they are happy and amazingly powerful. Just a glimpse of the Deva world. I think those people who are producing those movies, maybe science fictions and all. And plus, people are the scientists today, they are trying to communicate with the world outside. You know, they think of the aliens. How do we know? Maybe I know all the world, you know, all the powerful countries in the world, they have decided never to mess up with these aliens. You never know what power they have. You know, they can be really devas. So I think that is very simple example of how powerful, how mighty they can become, and their technology or their superior power over humans is truly amazing. So all those aliens and all those, what do you call, UFOs, right? Can be good examples of the real-time modern day devas that we know. And yes, you can actually never, because the modern day science is still not complete. You know, every day it is changing. The knowledge, new knowledge will be replaced. You know, with the old knowledge will be replaced by the new theories. It happens all the time. And so people who do all these things can also think of another way. Like, I think if they have a little bit of background of the Buddhist theory of karma and dependent origination and all these things, and some of those people who are into that, they have also become very wonderful practitioners. They can also become like that. And yes, so these things can be used in that way. I think if you think like the science will be the ultimate, I think there is no way out for you. I think if you are more flexible into thinking that we also know there are so many things that we don't know. So I think it is very important. The Buddha said in one sutta, I remember, there are three massive things in the world. Mahasamudra and Mahameru Pabbata and Mahapatavi. So this ocean, great ocean, is so big, right? And in the Mariana Trench, how deep is that? Maybe like 13 miles something. It's really 13 kilometers, right? So it's really, really very deep. And the volume of water, we can't even think of it. And then Buddha said in Asu Sutta, for example, the kind of tears that you shed as a mother when your children dies, more than the ocean of water. You can see the immeasurable samsara. And then he said, these three things, massive structures of objects that we have. The great ocean, the great Mahameru Pabbata, maybe the Mount Everest or something like that. And the other one is the great earth. All these things will also be gone forever. Nothing will remain. Nothing will remain. This ocean will be dried out completely one day. But yet, our ignorance will be there with us. It will take us to the samsara more and more. And unless and until we come out of that whirlpool of ignorance, we will always be trapped inside. We will always build our ego, possess things, accumulate this and that, and cry over our children or whatever, so we will call ourselves, this is me, this is myself, this is mine. All these things will be there, but we will never be out of this samsara. We will be born as Brahmas and born as ants. No way out unless we try to decode that circuit of transmigration. That circle, we have to come out of that. Only then we can do something about that. Only Sotapanna can guarantee you that your liberation is close by. Does that make sense?
Thank you, Bhante. And well, there's a question that's not really related, so perhaps you can ask that question on Friday evening at Monk Chat, where there will be a panel of monastics, and we'll be happy to answer it. So unless there's something else, then I think we are done for the evening. Thank you so much, Bhante, for sharing the Dhamma with us. Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., we'll have another special guest here at Empty Cloud Monastery at Jankawilo, who will be sharing Dhamma here with us. And then we'll have, again, Bhante Sumitta continuing these sessions on the Gradual Teaching. So both Thursday evening and Friday morning, and then Monk Chat once again Friday evening. And if you're around here in New Jersey at Empty Cloud Monastery, on Saturday at 6 p.m. we'll have meditation on the lawn, and on Sunday we'll have Family Day. So you're welcome to join us from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., share the meal here at Empty Cloud, and have a good opportunity to meet other practitioners. All right, so I'll pass it on to Bhante for the sharing of merits.
Thank you everyone for joining us today, and I think as a customary tradition, we will transfer merits with all the devas. Share the merits with all the devas and all the brahmas, all sentient beings. May the merits that we all have accrued today by listening to this Dhamma talk, sharing, and also by practicing Dana Sila Bhavana in our life, during our lifetime and during our whole course of samsara, may all these powerful meritorious activities become one united power and be shared with all those devas and other sentient beings. May they be well, happy, healthy, safe wherever they are. Please think of all your departed ones, your departed parents, your departed relatives, anyone in the family or friend, and let us share these merits with all of them as well. May they also receive this merit, share this merit, be well, happy, healthy, safe wherever they are, and also may they all receive, attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana, the absolute peace and happiness at the end of our samsara. May all of us, may all of you be associated with the Dhamma all the time. Be associated with wonderful Kalyana Mitta friends all the time, so that you can be always led to the right path and right Dhamma. And may all of us be able to live our life with peace, happiness, and good health, and the Dhamma always. And may all of us and all of them and all sentient beings in the world be able to achieve the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Thinking thus, please keep your palms together close to your heart and say 3 times, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. Let us transfer merits to devas and other beings. Ittavata hehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata hehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodanto sabba sampatti siddhya ettavata cayam hehi sambhatam punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodanto sabba sampatti siddhya. May all those merits be shared with the departed ones. Idang me ñātinang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Idang me ñātinang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Idam me ñātinang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. May the power of this good karma be with us, and may we all be associated with wonderful Kalyanamitta friends. Imena punya kammena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiyam. May all of us be able to achieve the absolute peace and happiness, the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Idang me punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu sabba bhaya pamuncatu sabba roga pamuncatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.